I'm Mariana, I'm from Brazil.
My name's Hugo.
My name is Sebastian.
My name is Olivier.
My name is Elvira.
I am in my last year of my degree in political science and journalism, and I am from Canada. I'm from the University of Victoria.
I come from Montreal in Canada, and I'm studying conference interpreting here at Leeds University.
I'm from Germany and I study translation in a postgrad degree.
And I'm Lithuanian, but at the age of 13 I moved to Sweden and I attended international schools, so I'm a bit European, but I'm from all over the place.
Was I surprised about the general election?
That was really surprising.
I opened up Facebook in the morning and somebody posted, oh, Theresa May is going to deliver a statement this morning. And there was some talk about whether she was going to resign or all these other wild theories, but turns out it was a snap election.
Well, it was surprising insofar as Theresa May said there wasn't going to be a general election, and then there was.
I was already in the UK when David Cameron stepped down, so I was here for Theresa May's statement where she said that she wasn't planning on having another election. So yeah, it caught me by surprise, and I don't really see the point in it, to be honest.
I would have kind of expected there to be one because the public needs to elect their representatives.
It's just a classic political move. There's not much to analyze there, I think.
In one sense, it's exciting because, you know, as someone obviously not from the UK, I get to see what the electoral process is in another country. It's exciting, but it's also a little bit terrifying.
It got to the point where I just sort of gave up caring because this time it's more of a UK-based thing, and since I'm not planning to stay here, the fact that they're not the part of a European Union anymore, I don't see the point to care.
I've come to stay and I'm planning on staying in the UK and work here for at least a couple of other years.
Regarding the fight between, I think it's mainly the Tories and the Labour Party right now, led by Corbyn, and the Tories by Theresa May.
I think a lot of people have underestimated Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. I think in a lot of ways it's similar to the way the media did underestimate Bernie Sanders in the election.
He seems to be outlining a policy that would benefit Britain, I think, in terms of nationalisation.
Labour in particular has had a lot of, I guess, a lot of memes about, you know, Corbyn versus May, and basically in a kind of good versus evil dilemma, which might not necessarily be fair.
As an international student, I can't vote.
One really interesting aspect is that I can vote. I had no idea that I could, but as a Canadian citizen and by extension a Commonwealth citizen, I have the right to vote.
I'm not part of the Commonwealth, so I'm from Brazil, and so I can't vote. And so I'm not really encouraged to be politically informed. There isn't that much of an incentive to follow British politics.
The thing about Sweden is that it's extremely engaged in politics, and even when I was in high school, the election was going on, my last year of high school, I think, and the youth are super feminist, they're super equality driven. A lot of people believe in socialism, so the Social Democrats are the ones in power right now. And it was beautiful because there were all these debates, these politicians coming into my school, debating on certain topics, because in school we got the chance to actually vote for these parties and to see what the kind of vote come out was in our school.
I studied in Berlin in my undergrad, and Berlin's known to be one of the most politically left-wing places in Germany, and you can particularly feel that at university. So the movement, the student movement, is very big in Berlin, especially at my university. So compared to Berlin, I'd probably say it's more subtle in the UK, but you do get it here, and I appreciate students being so politically engaged.
The situation of students in Brazil and students here is actually quite similar. Many people do vote. It does take a lot of encouragement, a lot of promotion to get students to do something. What students really like to do in Brazil is protest. So it's kind of like a social event, which is a good thing and a bad thing because you get really big turnout, but it's not really maybe for the right reasons. So you'll have once a year a big march against corruption, and hundreds of thousands of students will turn up, and it's a great big party. Maybe it shouldn't be a great big party, but at least they're engaged to some extent.
I witnessed very, very active youth growing up because Sweden is kind of equality driven and it's very active in terms of political change. Even Swedish music, even rap, everything is going to be about political issues, justice, and all that kind of thing. So that's been a beautiful thing to witness, and I was quite surprised as well that in the UK there's so many students that care about politics. And there's so much sharing on Facebook, there's so much discussion. Jeremy Corbyn, the fact that he was in Brudenell Social Club, there were masses of students coming there, listening, engaging. They watch all these debates on TV. The fact that they're so active, I think it's very beautiful. So it's not a big change, but I do have a lot of respect for people who are involved.
Now that I know that I have that right, I want to exercise it in a responsible way. There are a lot of friends that I have who live and work in the UK who are EU citizens who pay tax in the UK, but they don't get a vote, and I find that really surprising and a little unfair.
It's hard to say who I would vote for, and it's hard to know how feasible the policies of the different politicians are.
When the snap election was called, commentators said, well, it was a chance for the Conservatives to strengthen their majority. At least the Prime Minister said as much. Now, a few days before the election, it doesn't seem that that is going to be the case.
I won't be secretive about it. I would definitely pick Mr. Corbyn for a variety of reasons.
There's really nothing in the Labour manifesto that I would particularly oppose. So I think that would probably be my vote.
I'd definitely vote Labour for obvious reasons.
As a student, I'd probably vote for Jeremy Corbyn.
I would probably vote for the Green Party because I always vote for the Green Party in Germany, although knowing that the political system in the UK works differently, I'd probably reconsider because my vote would probably not really matter that much because I'll go to the winning party of my constituency in any way.
Mr. Corbyn wants to do away with tuition fees, which I think is difficult. We should probably start by reducing them. But it's definitely a big step in the right direction.
Tuition fees, I think it's a great idea to scrap them. It's done in a lot of European countries. So I lived in Germany before I came here, and my brother studies there, and I think he pays about 800 euros a year to do mechanical engineering. And over here people are paying £9,000 to do other degrees.
I think it was really shocking to me that tuition went from, £3,000, £3,500 all the way up to £9,000 or £9,500 suddenly.
So that's a lot of money.
I'm in a lucky position because I only had to pay domestic tuition fee, and I think a lot of European students won't come to the UK to study. For me, it was a big step to begin with because education is free in Germany, so I wouldn't have had to pay anything to do a master's degree in Germany. So deciding to come here and to pay for it was one decision, and I think a lot of German students would agree that it's still worth it, but it certainly won't be worth it if we had to pay tuition fees, international tuition fees.
When you set such high prices, such high tuition fees for students, master's students for example, it's already hard when it's free to let's say forego the opportunity to work and to go to school instead. But if you go into university and paying an extra price, you're really earmarking that for the richer and the richest, which is obviously a gateway to social division.
Such an increase I don't think would exist in Canada. I think it would be gradual if it were happening, phased in over a couple of years. And now they're saying, well, or at least Labour are saying, we'll go from 9,000 or 9,500 back down to zero.
I'm obviously really saddened by Brexit and by the decision to leave the European Union, especially because the reason why I came here was Erasmus in a way, because I met my girlfriend who's English on my year abroad in Spain. So without Erasmus, I would have probably never moved to the UK. So finding out that people want to leave and want to stop people like me from coming here as easily as I have been able to is obviously sad.
The reason people from Eastern Europe come to the UK is because I personally, if I work here, the minimum is £5.50. My friend had a summer job, she was getting €1.20 per hour.
There's a lot of uncertainty as to exactly what the fate of the Erasmus program is going to be. That's of course subject to the negotiations between the European Union and the UK, and we're just not going to know for months. And in some sense, I'm lucky, and Canadians are lucky in that our agreement, between, say, my home university, the University of Victoria, and the University of Leeds, isn't affected by that, but it's definitely on my mind for, friends and for other exchange students who are within Europe and want to have the same opportunity that I did.
I'm not an Erasmus student because I'm from Brazil, and I think you have to be from Europe to be an Erasmus student. But I think it's a great program, and I've heard that it's going to be scrapped, which I think is a shame, both for students that want to come to the UK and for UK students to experience different parts of Europe. So I really do hope that that changes and the Erasmus program is preserved.
This election is going to have a huge impact on my life, depending on what the cuts on the NHS are going to be, what this government's policies on the NHS for foreign citizens is going to be, and in a lot of ways, I think this is going to be very crucial.
I think it will affect everybody. You want to care about politics or not. That's why I think it's so important to vote for everyone, because as the generation that's going to take care of the world in a few decades, we have to start somewhere and we have to care about what's going on.
It's high time a leftist politician came back to power. I think we haven't had one since 2007, if I'm not mistaken, here in Great Britain.
I think the outcome of the election is going to really tell observers, around the world, just where we are, where the British people are, in terms of accepting socialism and accepting collectivism.
You need to understand where other people come from, and we are, at the end of the day, all one. And a foreigner that comes from a different country, try to get to know them, try to understand where they come from, and try to understand that we're all human at the end of the day. And you having the privilege should be more open to helping other people rather than discriminating them.
Well, I think everyone should go and vote.
You have the power to influence where your country is going.
If you have, well done. If you haven't, make sure you always vote, because I would love to vote and I can't. So make use of your right to vote.